Hello, hello. Thank you for joining, everyone. We'll see how many we get in here. I'm going to give everybody a minute just to kind of start to pop in. It just turned 11 o'clock, so typically it takes a couple minutes for everybody to join. But I do already see here that I have Aaron asked a question in the chat. He says, "Hi, does following or sharing produce better results, likes, offers, etc.?" Yeah, so good morning, Max. I see your chat. So Aaron, sharing really is going to be your key to making more sales, because sharing not only gets your items in front of your followers, it sends it to their main feed and stuff, but it also gets your items to show up higher in search results and in brand feeds and category feeds. So sharing is definitely crucial to generating sales and generating likes, and then through likes generating offers, and then being able to make more sales through that. So sharing is definitely going to be that. Following, though, is more about building your audience and building your following. So following people is going to help you get more followers. Getting more followers is going to help build your audience. The bigger your audience, the more impact your shares have. So it's a good thing to build your following as well. Good morning. We've got 5120. We've got Debt-Free Diva for Life. I like that name. I wish I could say I was 100% debt-free, but I am not. So I'm working on it. But yeah, thanks for joining, guys. So yeah, this chat, I'm basically here for, I don't know, about an hour or so, just to talk with customers, see if you guys have any questions, if you have any questions you want answered. A lot of times what'll happen is somebody will ask a question in the chat, and then other poshers will come in and be like, oh, I do it this way, I do it that way. So feel free to jump in the chat, ask any questions you want to ask, even if it's not for me. You can ask what other poshers do. You can say like, hey, how many shares do you do per day? Are you guys seeing a lot of sales right now? I'm not seeing a lot of sales, something like that, right? Like you guys can jam in the chat if you would like to, and I'll poke in and make sure I'm answering questions that are directed at me for sure. But definitely this is a place to hang out and just hang out with other poshers. And like I said, in the email, hang out with other poshers that are interested in growing their closet and ultimately making more sales and saving time doing it, right? And that's using closet tools to be able to do that. So really excited to be here with you guys today. And like I said, if anybody has any questions or anything, jump in the chat, talk to some poshers, and let's go for it. Cheryl Haynes says, does anyone still share to parties? So, sorry, I said Cheryl. It's Shell Haynes. So Shell, parties are interesting because technically parties are a different type of share versus like sharing to followers. And because they're considered a different type of share, they actually have a different share count tracker on Poshmark for party shares. And so whereas the limit for self-sharing or community sharing on Poshmark is around 10,000, party sharing technically has a different limit. And so you actually can get additive shares on top of your current share limit. And so when you share to parties, you're not adding to that daily limit. And so you can technically double up on your shares, especially in the evening party if you're sharing all of your items to the party. And those shares will count towards you showing up in search results and things like that. So parties are a great way to generate some traffic on your items. The party itself, I don't think really generates a lot of sales. Like who's actually scrolling through the party being like, oh, I love this thing that I just found in the party, right? Like nobody does that. But it is another chance to share your items. And so I do recommend doing that for sure. Max says, I follow a lot of people, but only a third of them follow me back. Is there a way to increase that? Honestly, Max, that's pretty par for the course. I mean, that's generally what happens. I mean, across like the internet, right? If you're doing that on like Instagram or Twitter or whatever, that's pretty much what happens. It's mostly just a way to get in front of people and get another notification that allows somebody to come to your closet and maybe check out some stuff and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, to increase that, I don't really know. If you can make your profile really attractive in some way, maybe it'll increase that. But honestly, that's a pretty standard rate for following back, if you're doing some sort of follow program for any social media platform. So Debt-Free Diva for Life says, when you have your closet on automation, does it relist items automatically? And if so, how does the system know when to relist an item? So yeah, when you're using full automation, I'm going to run this on my wife's closet. I actually just turned hers off. I ran upstairs really quick and turned it off before the stream. So yeah, when you're doing your closet sharing for full automation, there's this option here, relist old items. And if you hit that, what Closet Tools will do is it'll analyze the item before it shares it, and it will check to see if the item is more than 60 days old. And if the item is more than 60 days old, then it'll copy the listing, edit the title, delete the old listing, and then you'll have a new listing that, has the same title as the previous one. And the 60 days old thing is important because Closet Tools uses the copy listing feature that Poshmark offers. I don't fully make a new listing and then delete the old listing. I actually just use the copy function and then delete the old listing. So, and with Poshmark, if you use the copy listing function, the item has to be more than 60 days old for it to show up as a new listing on people's feeds and stuff like that. And so that's all it does, right? So it looks at the items, sees how old it is, and then if it's more than 60 days old, then it'll relist the item. So you can see here it's actually relisting a couple of my wife's items. So it's relisting this one, and the feature itself is relatively hesitant. If for some reason it can't delete the old item, then it'll stop. It won't copy the listing and go through with it. But Paige says, does it have copy in the title? No, it removes copy from the title. There is an issue with fragile items for some reason. It leaves copy in the title. I got to fix that. But for any other just normal item, then it should work. And it doesn't have copy in the listing. The other thing is it doesn't do items that have multiple available. So if it's like an individual item that doesn't have multiple available and it's not a fragile item, then it should work perfectly. That should work well. Shell Haynes says, but if you lowered the price, it will stay the same low price, right? Yeah. Yeah, it should be the same price as whatever it was when you relisted the item. And Shell asks, will it copy listings for multiple items? It'll copy listings for multiple items, but those items themselves can't have multiple available. So when you go to, create a listing, when you're down here, where is that? Oh, quantity. Yeah. So single item, multi-item. If you're using multi-item, then I don't think Closet Tools can relist it. But if it's a single item, then Closet Tools can relist, any one that's a single item. But I will say there's a limit to the amount of items that you can list in a single day. It's somewhere around 150 to 200 listings per day. So if you are relisting a whole bunch of items, you might hit that limit, and then you might not be able to just list new stuff. So pay attention to that a little bit. Sometimes when people first run it, they run into that where it relists a whole bunch of stuff, and then you get blocked by the relist limit. Alex says, if my quantity is 2 or more, I can't relist them. 100% of mine use multi-item. Maybe that explains why Closet Tools automation can't relist mine. Yeah. I will definitely make a note to double check on that and see if I can figure it out. I just know that at the time when I built that feature, I couldn't figure it out. So yeah, I'll make a note. Actually, I'll make a note right now. Things to fix. I have this super long list of things to fix and things to add. Check if I can copy listings, multiple available. Cool. But yeah, unfortunately, that's probably why the relisting hasn't worked for you, LX, because it has the multiple available. Hey, Paige. Oh, Debt Free Diva for Life is talking to Paige. Cool. So yeah, a couple things that I really wanted to talk about. I did just post on the Closet Tools blog a new post for 2023, just talking about the Poshmark algorithm. And when I was doing a little bit of research for this post, I saw some interesting things, especially around Poshmark ambassadors. So pretty much across the board for any feeds, whether it's the main feed or a search feed or community feeds or brand feeds, Poshmark ambassadors are almost always at the top. So it was a really interesting finding to see, because I mean, like it's anything. It's not just like, oh, just Poshmark ambassadors are sharing their items. No, Poshmark is actually designed specifically where there's always Poshmark ambassadors at the top. And I found that really interesting. And so it just shows how important Poshmark ambassadors, being a Poshmark ambassador is. It's not just about, having a badge on your profile or anything like that. This is how you can get more visibility on Poshmark, is by being a Poshmark ambassador. I didn't really see much of a difference between the Poshmark ambassador 2 and the 1 as far as like showing up in feeds and stuff like that. But certainly being a Poshmark ambassador really does get you a lot more exposure on Poshmark as far as showing up in search and showing up, on different feeds. So that, and then the thing that I found with search is that these add-on text bubbles here are the most popular keywords that people are searching for on Poshmark. And so if you use the Poshmark search you can use the Poshmark search to do some keyword research to try to figure out what people are searching for. So like if you have like Nike shoes, you can just pop Nike in here. And then you can see here, like these are the top types of Nike shoes, right? Like, so maybe yours are Air Maxes, right? So like you hit an Air Max, and then maybe you have the 720s or whatever, I don't know. But then you can use these bubbles, and then what you can do is you can build your title based on these bubbles. And then when people are searching for these popular things, your items are more likely to show up because your title has the text and the bubbles for that. So it doesn't look like 720 is really that popular. But you can see here, like if I just have Nike and Air Max, all of these titles have Nike Air Max in them, right? It's pretty simple. If I go like white, let's see. So this one has white in it. So it seems like when you get a little more specific, then it tends to veer away from the exact title, but it must be that most people aren't putting white in their title. But anyways, yeah, so you can use this as a way, search any brand or anything here, or if you have like the brand and the make, or I guess it would be the model, then you can use Poshmark's, suggestions here to build your title so that you're showing up higher in search results. Yeah. But, here's something interesting. Let me show you. So I just searched for Nike, right? Look at these top items. I'll open up these Poshmark closets here. Top 4 here. So the first one, interestingly, is not a Poshmark ambassador. So Poshmark ambassador, Poshmark ambassador, Poshmark ambassador, all Poshmark ambassador 2s, right? And so then let me refresh the page here. That updated quickly. Posh ambassador, Posh ambassador, Posh ambassador, Posh ambassador. Let's see. Let's keep going. I'll refresh. All new items. Let's see how many of these are Poshmark ambassadors. Posh ambassador, Posh ambassador. Not a Posh ambassador. Not a Posh ambassador. Interesting. Yeah, so on these more quickly updating feeds, you can see that sometimes non-Poshmark ambassadors get in, but it's mostly Poshmark ambassadors that are showing up for these feeds. So yeah. Let's see what anybody else has been asking. So, okay, so 5120 says approximately every day at a half, my sharing stops and I have to restart it. So, honestly, I don't really recommend going to your feed, your closet, and sharing anymore. So, what 5120 is talking about is like if you go to your closet, you can, if you have like background mode on or something like that, you can just hit this button and it starts sharing your items. I don't really recommend doing that for sharing your items anymore because you can just go to the main feed here and you can have full automation share your whole closet all day. And that's going to be your best bet for getting all of your items shared every day. And with this, it's never going to stop. It just refreshes every day and you can just like let it sit. My wife has let it sit for weeks and it just goes and just keeps going. So this is going to be your best bet for sharing your closet items consistently. Rather than sharing in your closet page. I know that in the past with Closet Tools, that was the way that you always did things. But now I recommend just using full automation. It really just is it's much more of a solid way of doing sharing. Yeah, Debt-Free Developer Life says 5120. I have noticed that when I'm on automation, my store never stops sharing. Yeah, it's very reliable. Yeah. Over time, I've gotten better at coding and things like that. So some of the earlier features that I made are not as good as some of the later features that I made. So Paige Daugherty says, does Closet Tools search other people's listings? It doesn't really like search. I'm not sure. Paige might have to clarify what you mean by that. Laylee Pulley says, hi there. Will there be an option to send offers of items at a specific price, like $20 and up? Oh, yeah. Actually, I thought, didn't I add that? Send offers to likers. I did. Okay. So for the special functions, send offers to likers. Let me go to my wife's closet page. So for the special functions offer to likers, I don't think I have a minimum. Yeah, I don't. I have to fix that and I have to add that. Let me put that on my list. But for the full automation send offers to likers, automatically send offers to likers, there is a minimum price here you can see. So like you can put like $20 in here if you wanted to, and then it'll only send offers out on items that are more than $20. So yeah, so I have to update the other relisting feature, but for the fully automated return offers, it does have a minimum price. So yeah, I've really focused on the full automation, and yeah, Reseller Runner says here, full automation is the way to go. Yeah, it really is. Honestly, it's once you get it set up and it's just working, it really, I'm shocked how well it works sometimes, because it really is pretty reliable. So, yeah. Okay, so Paige already says share. Oh, yeah. So, Paige, Closet Tools does share other people's listings. So there's a couple different ways you can do it, and we'll look at the full automation here. So, first of all, you have return shares here. So you can have it automatically return shares, and you can share back like one item or two items, and you can wait a few seconds before you do that. And you can do it in the time window, or you can just always have it running. Next, you can share fresh closets. And so what this does is it pulls from that list. On the Poshmark app where you can look at the fresh closets. And these are people that have just listed an item for the first time. And basically, these are people that are wanting to get more exposure. And this actually adds to your Poshmark ambassador status when it says like, oh, you shared new closets. This is going to help you do that. And so, you can get the latest 1,000 fresh closets that just put out their first item, and you can share their items. Another way of sharing other items is doing this community sharing. So this actually just shares items from a feed, basically. So you can go to the women's feed, the men's feed, the kids feed, the home feed, and it'll share their items. Another way to share other people's items is if like you go to their closet page. So like if I just go to like this person's closet, I can just I can go to the sharing tab and I can just hit share to followers. It's going to share their items. I am going to be working on some share group automation stuff. And it'll be kind of similar to like this follow closets followers feature. And you can like add in, closets that you are part of a share group, and then you can set like the number of items that you want to share, and then throughout the day it'll share those number of items from those closets. I'm working on a bunch of crazy new stuff coming up in the next couple months, so it's going to be pretty awesome as far as growing your closet and making a lot more sales. So yeah, that's pretty much the ways to share other people's items. And then like technically you could go to like a feed, right? So like if I go to the women's feed and you go to like, bags and then, clutches and wristlets, right? Like I can technically go here and I can share to followers and it's going to share these items. And as long as you have the continuous mode on, it should just load new items and just keep sharing. So yeah. Let's see if anybody else has any questions. Oh, Alex. So he's asking, or he or she, I don't actually know if Alex is a... So they say, can I limit automatic offers to certain items or certain categories, e.g. closet, not boutique, not jewelry, not pickup? So no, at least not yet for the automatic offer likers. I do want to build some more selection features into this so that you can be a little more specific about it. But as of right now, no, that's not possible. It does any item, that matches the criteria here. Is there a way to save your favorite Posh sellers page instead of having to search for them every time? There's not right now. This is Reseller Runner that asked this. There's not right now, but definitely in the future when I work on some of the share group stuff, I do want to make it so that you can do that type of stuff. And then you wouldn't even have to visit their page, right? Closeters would just go out, grab their items, and share their items. So, yeah. Oh, Brenda Cordova says the upper share automation feed is not showing on mine. Yeah, it's right here at the top of the red circle tab, the full automation tab. If you hit this show automation feed button, that's what shows it. So like you might just have this hidden, and then it'll show you what's going on. It'll give you every notification for everything that it's doing. So, yeah. Cool. Yeah, so I mean, I've covered some of the full automation stuff. Like I said, I'm working on a ton of cool stuff for the next, 6 months or so. And I'm very excited to get some of this stuff out to you guys. Like I said, mostly just to help you grow your closet on autopilot and to generate lots of sales, really dominate the search results and stuff like that. So, if anybody has any questions about anything, even if it's, what maybe you consider it to be a dumb question, doesn't matter. You can ask a question and I will answer it. And so another thing that is interesting is from what I've seen recently, it's kind of an unfortunate thing, but if you use Poshmark's suggested pricing when you're listing items do tend to sell quite a bit faster. And I mean, it's two things, right? Usually the items are a little bit lower price, which that makes sense that, you would make more sales. But then at the same time, Poshmark knows at what price items are going to sell at. And so if you're really looking to like kind of clear out inventory and like make sales, that might be an interesting tidbit for you, is to just look at that. And to me, like obviously you want to make a profit and that's great. But at the same time, if you have a bunch of old inventory that you're sitting on and not selling, it's much better to sell it, get it out, than it is to, sit on a bunch of inventory that you're not selling. So yeah. Max says, what's one thing you can do in order to increase sales? So, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that you can do to increase sales. So, so from what I read, I wanted to add it to this post. I forgot to add it to this post. So if you read Poshmark's S1 that they filed when they went public, They talk about some of the Poshmark selling stats and stuff like that. And they said that 80% of sales on Poshmark start with a like, a comment, or I'm trying to think what the other one was. Maybe it was a share, something like that. Basically, they're saying that like usually some sort of engagement is the signal that starts the buying experience. Hardly any items are sold where somebody clicks on a listing and they just hit buy now without like liking it or something like that. So basically, you want to get to the point where you can show up in search feeds so that you can encourage likes. And if you get more likes, then you can automatically send out offers. And if those offers are good enough, then obviously people are going to be more interested in buying. So that's basically the thing that you want to do. And so like you want to have nice, attractive images. You want to have titles that would show up in search results. You don't want to have bad titles. You want to have good pricing so that people will like stuff and they'll actually, potentially purchase it. And then you want to share a lot. You want to share your items quite often. And something that I suggest is actually like reducing your Poshmark inventory because you have a limited number of shares per day. And if you're sharing, 3,000 items and you have like 10,000 shares a day, that means you can only share all of your items like 3 times. Whereas if you only have 100 items and you have 10,000 shares a day, what would that be? That would be 10, 100. You can share all of those items 100 times a day. And each time you share those items, they go to the top of search results. They go to the top of brand feeds. They go to the top of category feeds. And so the less items you have in your closet, the more opportunity you have to be able to share those items, to be able to get them to show up in feeds, at the top of feeds, the top of search feeds and stuff like that. So something to consider, reducing your inventory to some of your best items to be able to, consolidate your shares a little bit and not be sharing a bunch of items that just have no chance of selling, basically. Reseller Runner says listing, refreshing, and sharing seems to help my sales the most. Yeah, so listing new items definitely, for some reason, when you list new items, Poshmark puts a lot of attention on your closet. So that's definitely important, is listing new items consistently. I've seen where like even if you list 1 to 5 items per day, rather than like bundling all of your listings, you're doing like 50 on a Monday or something and then like not doing anything. But like listing a couple every day really seems to draw some good attention to your closet. So that's good for selling for sure. Cool. Very cool. For this year, I plan on adding a whole bunch more full automation. I also plan on like simplifying the tool and making it a little more, a little more intuitive. It's not crazy difficult to understand, but over the years, I've just added things, and I haven't like really changed the way things like look or the layout or anything. Like I have like settings everywhere. When like there is a settings tab, all the settings should be in there. And then like I have, this functions tab, and then I have this sharing tab as well. And I feel like those should be somewhat consolidated because sharing is also one of these functions. Another thing that I really need to fix is the select items and being able to select the items more easily on, different pages and different closets and things like that. And especially for like full automation, I want to be able to have you select, items that you want to be sharing. And really for any of these, if you want to have just a few select items that it does it, then that's really something that I want to focus on doing. But yeah, I have some really cool stuff lined up. And one of the things I have lined up is being able to follow likers of items, which is something I think I talked about in the past, but that's something that I'm going to be working on. You can go a whole bunch of different ways with that, but that's something that I'm gonna roll out because the follow followers feature is somewhat limited. I was talking to somebody this morning. I was emailing a customer about it, and what stinks about it is that Poshmark only allows you to load the top 1,000 items or 1,000 followers from a closet. And so the unfortunate thing is that these are sorted in alphabetical order. And so you're always only looking at the top 1,000 followers from a closet. And so once you've already followed, most of these people, then, every day there's probably only going to be like a handful of people to follow. So the follow followers feature is useful, but like not as useful. It would be much more useful if you could follow or if you could see more closets, then it would work better for sure. But as it stands right now, it's not really as great. Which actually, from what I'm seeing here, yeah, no, that's basically it. So Debt Free Diva for Life says, will pricing change at all this year? It shouldn't. I think the $30 a month is pretty good. The annual pricing did go up, but it's only up for like newer customers or new subscriptions. It's like $300 a year. You still save 2 months worth by doing the yearly. But yeah, I think it should stay the same. There might be a chance that I do some different things, but it'll all be like, additive and stuff like that. But as far as it goes now, yeah, it should stay around that $30 a month. I like that $1 per day pricing. I mean, to pay $1 to save hours every day, it seems like a pretty good sell. So, and it's competitively priced with other bots. Some of them are cheaper, but some of them don't do half the stuff that Closet Tools does. So, yeah. Does anybody have any questions for anybody? I'm kind of surprised we only have 12 concurrent viewers. I feel like more people said they were going to show up. But I guess there's been 22 people that have viewed it, but I feel like I've had more in the past. Maybe I should do a little bit more day of promotion. Maybe people can put in the chat just a rough estimate of like how much you make per week or per month or something on Poshmark. It'd be interesting to see, how big sellers, are here and what kind of revenue you guys are doing. It'd be interesting. Paige says it's 7 a.m. in Alaska, and I'm surprised I'm here. Yeah, that's true. On the West Coast, it's 8 o'clock, and in Alaska, yeah, it's 7 o'clock. But still, on the East Coast should be representing. They should be showing up for this. Of course, a lot of people are probably working and stuff like that. I probably should have done it at noon during the party when people show up to Poshmark stuff. Yeah, Debt Free Diva says, now that I'm in full automation, I have my life back. Awesome. Yeah, I'm really banking on making that more fully featured and just even more robust. And I think it's going to help a lot of people. I don't think I did a very good job promoting it and talking about it because even today people will ask me, how to share items in their closet page. And I'm like, you just got to use the full automation. It's going to change everything. Shell says average 2K. Was that per week or per month? Not that it makes a difference. That's still pretty good. Per month, I guess that would probably be pretty per month. If you were doing 2K a week, that would be pretty crazy. But That sounds pretty reasonable per month. Gotcha. Yep. 5120 says, I'm using your service on my wholesale closet. Nice. You can technically use it on multiple closets right now. It might not always be that way. But for now, you can use it with multiple closets. You can use one subscription for multiple closets. Brenda says 5,000, 10,000 or more. Wow. 5,000, 10,000 a month is pretty good. One thing that I would love to do this year is to like interview customers and just like, talk to them about some of the different ways they use closet tools, but also some of the different ways they use Poshmark and what tricks and trips that work for them. And, doing almost like a podcast style or something like that would be really cool. Excuse me. Reseller Runner says, I have an item on Poshmark that will not let me delete. It was a copy of the same item that sold. I have marked it as not for sale. Poshmark won't let me delete it. Any ideas? Yeah, actually, I think if you change the price I think it's if you change the size, it's almost considered as like a new item. And that will clear out any offers or anything like that on the item. And then I think you should be able to delete it. Nice. Debt Free Diva says, I started in May. My net profit was $45. In December was $633. Attribute a lot to closet tools. Perfect. Yeah, that's exactly what it should do. Is increase your sales, but then also save you a ton of time, right? That's the value of it. So that's really cool. All right. So we will give it a few more minutes here. And if we don't have any other questions or anything like that, I'll probably cut it off. But it's really awesome to see all you guys. It's cool to, get together with customers. I got to do this. I want to do this more often. This is part of my, not my New Year's resolution, but I really want to get, do some better stuff with the marketing and promotion for Closet Tools. So I want to hang out with customers and, potentially, hang out with new people that are, new to using Closet Tools. They want to learn how to use it and stuff like that. So they can see how I use it and things like that. So. I don't think I missed any chats or anything. Yes, please. We can share ideas. Yeah, that's what I like too. It's almost kind of like building a little community, right? It's like all these people that are, they're all Poshmark sellers and they all use Closet Tools and they all are, working together to try to, beat the system and, make more sales and stuff like that. So you could definitely share ideas and stuff like that. I actually have a lot of content to write this year. Mostly just little things, but I'm going to be writing a lot of tips and stuff for selling on Poshmark in 2023. So expect to see more from the blog as well. That's gonna be good. So I'll probably schedule a lot of these live streams around when I publish a new blog post. Just because then I can, I have something to talk about. And you can, get some new information if you're a new posher and stuff like that. So Gloria, good morning. Glad you could join us. I also think I'm going to do some design stuff this year. The purple and pink might change a little bit. I might keep the purple, but maybe get like purple and white more instead of purple and pink. Yeah, just clean things up a little bit. All right, cool. So, all right, it's been about 40 minutes. I don't see any other questions or anything like that. So, technically, if you're here right now and you have more questions, I think you could still enter things into the chat, and I can get back to you. But also, you can shoot me emails or messages in the app and stuff like that, if you have any questions about how to use Closet Tools or anything like that. So, yeah, I think I'm going to cut it there. And thank you all for joining. And, of course, I get one question as I'm ending. What are your thoughts about live shows? I don't have any thoughts about live shows yet. I know that Poshmark's biggest thing is all about engagement. They want more and more and more engagement. So I wouldn't be shocked if it's just this engagement thing where they're just trying to get more people to use the app and spend more time in the app. As far as like making more sales and stuff with the live shows, then I don't really have any thoughts on that. My wife doesn't really do the live shows or anything. So yeah. Oh, Darlene says, should I reduce my for sale inventory? I personally think so. I think that having less items that have a higher chance of selling is going to work out well for you. And I explained a little bit earlier in the live stream. If you have less items, you have a limited number of shares per day. And so if you have less items, you have more opportunities to share each of those items more. And so it's really useful to have some less items in your closet. You can imagine if you have 3,000 items or something like that, you have like 10,000 shares a day, so you're only going to be able to share your items 3 times a day. But if you have like 100 items or 200 items, you're going to be able to share all of those items, 100 or 50 times a day, with your full amount of shares. So you're going to be able to get to the top of, share search feeds and brand feeds and stuff like that using that, or, having less items. So that I do recommend that. And it's not about like, that's something that's totally necessary, but I think it's useful, like I said, because you have the limited number of shares, and sharing is so important to making sales in the platform, because you want to show up at the top of search results and stuff like that. So I've seen some of the most successful people on Poshmark, at least my customers, have like 1 or 2 items, and they have, multiple available. And they just share that item, 10,000 times a day. And they're just always at the top of search feeds. They're always at the top of brand feeds, and they're always at the top of their followers' closets. And Poshmark does a good job of not making that annoying anymore. It used to be much more annoying because like you would always be in somebody's main feed. But now they've got it a little more dialed in. But certainly, like I said, the more you can share items, the better. They're going to show up in search results and stuff like that. So that's what I recommend. Cool. All right. Yeah, I'll cut it there. And like I said, we're going to have more live streams this year. So don't worry if you feel like you missed out. Don't worry. We'll get in the next one. I'll probably be like in a week or 2 or something like that. And yeah, I'll catch you all later. And like I said, if you have any questions or anything, shoot me an email, message me, and lots of cool stuff coming up in Closet Tools for 2023. So I'm really excited to get into it. So that's all for today, and I will catch you all later.